Okay, Stephen, Phil, and Scott, we are back. What they said. We're going to talk about some movies tonight. First time, I think, in a couple of months or so, maybe 3 months even.
I don't think
And
that long. I think didn't
no,
Steve I do one in the interim, I think.
oh yeah, I mean you've done one, I guess, maybe around what was it, June or July, maybe. I don't think it was July, but anyway,
Okay.
done one. It was a little while ago. You've done one, so well, you two are going to discuss Nope, which I haven't seen, and I do intend to watch it actually. And then we're going to switch over to Elvis by Baz Luhrmann. So I'm going to get out of the way for Nope. This introduction was kind of useless in a way. You probably could have done a better one yourself, but I'm going to leave the
That's
floor to
fine.
you guys, and I'll join in when you're done, and then we'll connect for Elvis.
Sounds good.
So good chat.
Okay. See you in a bit. Stephen, my hope is, and my guess is, I know you've undoubtedly written about Nope already, which again, as I'll always say, I don't check ahead of time. My hope
Mm-hmm.
is that you liked it because I definitely didn't, and we can get some balance here
Mm-hmm.
rather than just pile onto it.
I liked it.
Okay. I encountered, on the message board, I was pretty much not totally, but one of, I think, only two people who didn't like it. Everyone else was crazy about it. I didn't, it would have been nice to see it a second time, having read all the commentary and everything. I don't think that was going to change anything for me. I actually, when I couldn't stay to see it a second time today, I came home with the intention of rewatching either Us or Get Out, which seemed to just be on Prime or Netflix forever, but now they're both off, and I couldn't even do that. So just going by my one viewing, which was probably now about 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago, anyway. Whenever it opened, I think I saw it the day after it opened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you want to start? You want me to? I made for both these films that we're talking about tonight. I just did the most basic thing. It helps me to take some notes.
Mm-hmm.
For each film, I put what I liked and what I didn't like.
So I kind of do that. I just look at what I wrote about it, and
yeah, you've got that. I don't have that. So for Get Out, my list is running. Hold on, just let me check it here. I've got a list of 3 things I liked and about 12 things I didn't. Elvis is a little more balanced.
Okay.
So
I'd say from the start, I realized I didn't do this again. I guess if I rewatched it, this would happen. All of Jordan Peele's movies, they've got all sorts of stuff going on, layers, whatever. What I said about Nope is that there's going to be a lot of senior theses written about this thing because you could take all these different angles and he's burying lots of stuff in there. And I don't know if burying is the right word because people are finding it.
Oh, for sure.
But what was that?
For sure. I agree. I mean, that's on the message board. People that liked it, they were just meticulously trying to piece together the logic of the monster,
Yes.
like some consistency.
Yes, and that's clearly one of the reasons people like it and like his work overall so far. And I'm glad it's there. I don't actually care when I'm watching. I was like, I like the characters, I like the plot, I like all the other stuff. And I'm not in college anymore. I don't have to write a paper on it. So
sorry, Stephen, I just want to say I'm exactly like you in that regard. And that's why I didn't care about that stuff, because I didn't like the film at the more basic level of performance and story and all of that. So I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah. Well, maybe first just to give Jordan Peele his due, if that's what he deserves. I think he does. This is a guy we have to remember. Not that many years ago, he was a co-star and writer of a skit comedy show, Key and Peele. There was no evidence from that I know of that he was also going to become a movie director, writer, etc. And I don't, even when I look back, there's a few skits that they did that had a kind of a bigger cinematic notion going on, but for the most part, I like those without thinking there's a director in there. So I'm fascinated still at the fact that this guy's now cranked out 3 movies. I saw, I think yesterday, that passed 100 million, not 100,000. It passed 100 million in the box office, and that means he's 3 for 3 on passing 100 million at the box office. And since these are genre pictures, that apparently is unheard of.
Okay,
Because
because I thought maybe 100 million would be a little more modest these days, but maybe not during the COVID window.
well, and also, like I say, these are what do you say, social horror movies or whatever. They're not superhero movies, and they're well,
Right.
like they're not the kind of movies we know that where if you made 100 million, you'd think it was a flop.
Okay.
You know? So in that sense, I think that these movies, and I don't have in front of me, but I can't believe these movies cost that much. Although this had some special effects that might have added to it. But so just for starters, I think even if I didn't like his movies, I'd still be wanting to give props for the fact that he's doing it. And however he got Get Out made, he's used that one to get Us made, and now to get this one made. He does what he wants right now, and that's impressive as far as I can see.
Okay, that's good. I guess for me, the big thing was that I did like a lot about Get Out and Us. I thought, at a certain point, second half, they both kind of hauled in some conventional horror film stuff. But leading up to that and the conception of each film, I thought it was just great. Get Out, you've got Trayvon Martin and all the police shootings in the background. And then Us, and I don't know if this was the main thing behind it, but I don't think you could miss it. The red hats, and when the one father looks at the shadow father or the shadow family, and he says, "Who are you people?" And they say, "We're Americans." That is just one of the great moments, I think, of the decade. And I thought that just like people's befuddlement over Trump's election, how did this guy get elected? Well, you elected him. Or enough of the country elected him. That's how it happened.
Yeah.
I thought that all that stuff was great, and I did want to at least rewatch one of them tonight. So I feel bad about that. Whereas Get Out to me just struck me as a film by a guy. Nope, struck me as a film by a guy who grew up loving a certain kind of '80s film, most of which I haven't even seen. I'm thinking of films like Goonies and things like that, where this group of teenagers Stranger Things is basically a tribute to those films too. And that's why I got tired of Stranger Things. When you get this ragtag group of, these are adults and no, but ragtag group of kids or teenagers that get together to defeat the monster. It's just so corny to me. And I needed other things to compensate for that for me, and they just weren't there. I can start on my list of what I liked and didn't like, but just overall, I just found it a very conventional kind of '80s science fiction film. The trailer, which piqued everybody's interest. I did not, honestly, I can say I don't read up on films when I go to see them, so I did not know it was going to be an alien UFO film. I would have said, really?
I think that the first 2 movies, which also had lots going on, but I think that on the surface they were easier to go with. And then I think in Nope,
they were more overt. I agree.
I'm not saying it's difficult, but I just feel like, just to take an example, the history of African Americans in movies and African Americans in cowboy movies. That's one of the things you can write your thesis on. You go up and you look up about it, and you would probably improve your enjoyment of the movie that we just saw. I liked that I liked it was there, but I didn't feel the need to run out and look it up right then because I was on the surface stuff. I was liking it. I'm blanking out the woman.
The character's name or the actress's name?
Palmer. There it is. Yes, Keke Palmer.
Okay.
I thought she was wonderful.
I guess she had some success as a child actress. I kept seeing them mention one show she was in. Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. It was Akilah and the Bee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was somebody. There's quite a few people. The older I get, there's these younger performers where I think I've discovered this new talent, and it turns out, Zendaya was the one to. When she came on Euphoria, I thought, my God, who is this person? And of course, she'd had top 10 hits, and she'd been on 3 different Disney shows, and so I don't obviously I don't keep her. So
I
Kiki
saw
Palmer,
her, sorry, I saw Zendaya tonight when I went to see Elvis in a commercial beforehand for some drink, some power drink. She did a
uh-huh.
commercial. Yeah.
That's funny.
Sorry.
The theater chain that we go to most often, AMC, they have a Nicole Kidman blurb basically that shows her in a movie theater telling you what a great thing it is to go to the movies.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
we're already there, so it seems a bit funny that she tells us this, but it's been more than a year, I think, where we go and they show the 83 previews, and then they show the thing where don't turn off your phone and don't
I
forget to
know.
go get some coke, and then you see her these feet, and you go, oh, here she comes, and there's Nicole Kidman again, and she's got this outfit. It's stripes going there, so she looks like 85 feet tall. I swear to God, my wife just walked in there. She can tell you she looks really, she is really tall. Anyway, that's nothing to
Okay,
do
I
with.
got us off track as always.
Yes, you can find that. I know you're dying to see it.
No,
That
I will.
Nicole
I'll look for it. It'll be easy to find
Blurred
on.
is out there.
Okay,
It's
you were talking about child actresses or young actresses
yes,
that you
Kiki Palmer.
slot.
Again, I just don't know that about her, so that's fine. Daniel Kaluuya, I mean, he's been in enough things now, not just Jordan Peele movies, so that helps. And I think in this one, his sort of not taciturn, but compared to her sort of ebullient performance, he matched up well with her, I think. Stephen Ewan always interests me in whatever he's done. I've seen him in Korean movies. Of course, he was on Walking Dead. Uh, I think he's an interesting actor. Uh, and then the chimpanzee, in some ways, is the best of all.
Yes, and that might be a good place for me to start. Just should spark some conversation. I'll say some things from my list. So the 3 things that I liked in the film. The first one was indeed the Gordy's Home prologue. I wish the whole film had been about that. That was it was not, the violence wasn't, it was kind of implied more than in your face. It was disturbing. And that just really piqued my interest when they started off with that. And then even when they returned to it for a more detailed look at it, I thought that whole idea was great. That I thought was the highlight of the film. The second thing I liked, and this sort of goes to your history of African Americans in film and all the theses that'll be written about it. I liked the connection to Edward. You can correct me if I'm not saying his name right. Muybridge, with the galloping horse.
I don't know how to say his name either, but yes, I know who you mean.
Okay, so I thought that was very promising when they threw that out at the beginning, and then you find out that and I don't even know if it was true or whether they were just saying it. They were okay, that you've got an African American jockey and that they are the grandchildren of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that sort of put it in line with Get Out and Us, and it's going to be overtly about race.
It did seem with that was going to be a central theme of the movie instead of one of the many things that went on in the movie that you could think about afterwards. So in that sense, once the movie itself gets going, it's about these people, the brother and his sister in the spaceship, and I'm fine with that. But you're right. There were a couple of things that were suggested in the beginning, and they were left for the film scholars to figure out after the fact.
And I don't know the cinematographer's name. I read it tonight, but there were shots. Some of the cinematography I really liked. Not so much anything to do with the monster, but I liked just them getting out of the cars at night.
Mm-hmm. I'm checking
a couple of beautiful shots of the night sky with the car in the foreground. I like that. And that was pretty much all I liked. I'll tell you some things I didn't like, and you can tell me why I should have liked them. So
that's never possible.
Way too long. Catching the monster took forever. It seemed to literally take up like the last half an hour at least, or 40 minutes maybe. I don't know.
I'm the no person here, and I think it was too long. I noticed that everyone's only had 3, but they each get longer. And this was like more than half an hour longer than Get Out.
Yeah, you're right. I was checking.
I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I get cranky at long movies unless I love them. So I guess I don't really get cranky. But yeah, I did think this was too long. It didn't bother me. I mean, I was kicking it. I was watching it.
Okay.
But it was too long.
I was checking to see whether I could fit in when I thought I could watch them, Get Out or Us tonight. Get Out was 104 minutes. Us was 116 minutes, and this was definitely over 2 hours. So his films, as he gets more money, he's making longer films, and good or bad. For me, bad.
Yeah, you're right. The money's got to do with it, but I think also as he has success, he's probably allowed to do more things that he wants to do.
Right. He's definitely part of that is ambition too.
Yeah.
A big part of
There's
it.
a kitchen sink feel to it. It's like maybe he just sits here and thinks, I love those Easter eggs that the people can check out on later on YouTube. I'll throw in 17 of them. Maybe this is simple as that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't care. I don't know. For me, in the instant of watching it, I don't know that they add in depth. But again, I think it would add depth to a reconsideration of the movie. That'll be 5 years from now when I check it out again.
But just in general, I shouldn't be faulting a filmmaker for being ambitious in this day and age, especially. Now, I didn't really I liked the guy that you singled out from The Walking Dead. I thought he was good. I guess he is one of the leads, but I didn't like really any of the 4 leads. The lead actor, Daniel, yeah, who I thought was really good in Get Out. You said taciturn. I found it was just one of those performances where it's like the actor mistakes, hardly ever say. It's like a Clint Eastwood performance, just don't say anything and say as little as possible, and that's acting. That's the way the character was written. He has to go with what's written. Yeah, it was on purpose. I'm not saying it was accidental, but I'm not generally not. There are exceptions. If I go down, I'll probably immediately find 10 exceptions. I'm generally not a fan of that style of acting. I like a little humor, a little, change it up a bit. She was, I guess she was okay, but she was kind of, how did you describe her? A buoyant.
Yes.
I'm not a buoyant myself, so that's the other extreme, the ebullience. I'm complaining because one guy's too quiet and she's too ebullient. I want that middle ground there. But the guy I really hated was the cameraman. I said it was like a bad Sam Elliott imitation. Oh God, I found him corny.
I wasn't positive. Okay, I keep admitting I don't know exactly what was going on all these levels, but I didn't really understand his character at all. It's true. I didn't put it down to acting or nothing. Maybe that would have been how I could have made it not as long, but he just wasn't there. I mean, the other. Go ahead.
Oh, just the other guy just seemed like kind of a cliched slacker type to me, the guy that worked in the stereo shop. So I wasn't big on any of the performances. Okay. Now, the next 2 things I wrote, I guess we probably already touched on them. I said, not nearly as conceptually interesting as Get Out or Us. One of those films, this is probably unfair, but one of those films, I swear that they're primed to fawn over it because they like the previous films, and maybe I can't say the 2 previous films didn't get enough attention. They actually got lots of attention, but maybe the people that are fawning over it, I don't know, maybe some of them miss those 2 films. I kind of went through it with Boogie Nights and Rushmore, where I felt the follow-up films got too much attention, people making up for the fact that they missed the previous 2. Like
the point that when we come to the theater, we see a movie. What we bring in terms of, I like his movies or her movies, I don't like his movies. that starts us in a place. It's not that it can't be overcome, but yeah, if you like the first two, although you did like the first two, I'm really holding up my theory here, but it puts you in a mood to like it, and then maybe when it's over, you want to like it, even if you didn't quite like it. Although I think I did like it, but I think you're right that he's already in his third movie. He's already getting the benefit of the doubt, if nothing else. And
He's a major filmmaker. There's no doubt about that.
I think that's amazing. That again, a guy from sketch comedy on TV has gotten movies to the point where he's a major filmmaker we give him a chance to do things.
I think I tend to be probably overly tough on films from directors where I'm coming off films that I've liked, or I just my expectations are raised, and it's a perfect way to set yourself up for disappointment. One specific complaint, I found not that I understood all the intricacies of the monster and everything, and the way everything was pieced together. I found the resolution with that big inflatable, whatever it was, just ludicrous. It reminded me of the equivalent in the Austin Powers movie, the big boy thing floating up in space. And I was like, this is it? After all this, you're going to have the monster try and ingest this ridiculous looking balloon type thing. And that's going to be what does the monster in? I didn't get that at all.
Did you have any sympathy for the monster?
I just, as people were throwing all this stuff back and forth, I said, I started to tune out the last half an hour.
Okay.
So the whole thing about the conversation ILX, and this was something that bothered me. They were all complaining about this one review by a blogger called, the blogger's name is Walter Chaw. I don't know if you ever read him.
Yes, I know Walter.
I don't know how he is normally, but he didn't like it. And he brought up a lot of things that he said didn't make sense. And the people that were defending the film, they weren't just defending the film. It was like, how dare you question this great film? Even to the point of one guy, a somewhat prominent music writer, said, well, I don't have to pay attention to it. He's just a blogger. And I said, oh, so that's it. For you, he doesn't have enough prestige to question this film. So, I don't know what got me onto him, but I said, now me personally, I didn't care about all the questions he raised because I tuned out by that point. But, I thought and I was going to ask you, you're a fan of Mick LaSalle, aren't you?
Yes. I mean, he's a local guy, but I also see him all the time. But yeah,
he did not like Nope at all. It was one of two, I think, 2 or 3 really negative reviews I read.
Sometimes great filmmakers make crappy movies or something like that, I think.
And his the headline, which he's not responsible for, but I imagine it was gleaned from the review somewhere, was slow, dull, and repetitive disappointment. That sums up the film for me as well as anything.
I want to double back just for a second. I know that's not what the subject here, but Walter Chaw. He's not, I would say he's not just a blogger. I'm just a blogger. Walter Chaw is an internet, that's where he got his start at least, but he's been at it forever. I used to hate him. I didn't know him personally, but his feeling was always, it seemed to me, if he thought a movie was tops and you didn't, you were stupid. That was basically how he approached it, as it seemed to me. And he liked, I don't know, I want to say Terrence Malick, but maybe not, but we didn't always agree. And I thought, who is this arrogant guy? He's just a blogger, basically. But other people have noticed his work, and he doesn't just blog. And I don't know if this makes him better or worse, but he's actually interesting in terms of, I don't know his whole biography, but he's out there. You can find him. And I follow him now, and I don't get mad at him when he doesn't like what I like. And he's at least meticulous enough. If he had problems with the movie, then he's going to know about them. He's going to lay them out. He's going to do a good job on that level. But like I say, if you really love something that I don't, and I think he's telling me I'm dumb, well, I don't.
Okay, I've never really read them. So I don't have that frame of reference. Another guy who didn't like the film, and now I don't take this that seriously, and I didn't brandish his review. Armand White, of course, hated it because he hates anything where, again, this is Jordan Peele's moment, and he's getting great reviews from all the critics that Armand White hates. So I didn't take his review that seriously.
There's the one I skip him. I
Yeah.
just know he'll make me mad, and I won't be able to evaluate what he's got going on. I just think he's awful, and so I didn't even read him.
Well, it's like I knew exactly what he was going to say. That Jordan Peele was just a trendy filmmaker, you know, for the left-leaning crowd and all of this. Just let me raise a couple of quick points. The comparisons to M. Night Shyamalan, to me, those seem appropriate. And it's as crazy and as silly as Signs was sometimes. It had this ridiculous, it also had a ridiculous resolution where Joaquin Phoenix picked up the baseball bat to kill the monster. I actually liked Signs a lot better. I thought it was spookier. I don't know if Nope was really trying to be spooky. It was almost like he was maybe trying to get away from that a little bit. But I thought it had a better build. And I don't like M. Night Shyamalan. I didn't like the Sixth Sense, and I've not liked the film since, but I did like Signs, and I liked it better than Nope.
No, he's one in that place where you like someone or don't like him in advance. I see his name, M. Night Shyamalan. I already think I'm going to hate this movie. A lot of times I don't watch it because he's involved in it, and if I do watch them, it's usually by accident. I didn't know he was involved with them.
The one he made last year was old. It was just really one of the worst films I think I've ever seen, and I almost walked out. I wanted to ask you, do you think there's any significance to OJ as a name? Is there? I mean, is that just throwing it out there to make people like me ask that? Or?
Yeah, no, I don't know if there's a senior thesis in that, but I bet you someone wrote a 5-page paper. I don't know what. I mean,
yeah,
sure there
okay.
was. Nothing's accidental. Nicholas Rogue once said, someone said, you know, you put all that stuff in those movies, all that. How much of it is this an accident? He said, I don't make accidents. I make that. If it's in there, I put it there. Don't give me any of that. What do you think I'm done? So I'd say that when he called him OJ, that meant something. I don't know what.
Yeah, well, I think it does. I think it's either to inspire all those PhD theses or in advance to make fun of them. One of the two. No, you're right. I don't think it's an accident.
No, and I think that things like that in his movies so far, I think that they seem like they're done in fun. I don't get the feeling like in a David Lynch movie. I think that he's the only one who knows a lot of what the hell is going on. It's in his head. That's good enough for him. And he doesn't even make demands on us. He just puts it out there and we take it or not. I think in the case of something like OJ, again, he's a sketch comedy guy. Let's call him OJ. I don't know if he did that. I'm sure there's an interview where he explains it.
Yeah.
But I believe that it was just, why not?
Okay, the last thing I'll mention, got to say something about music. I don't think he's been a director who so far has shown any evidence of, wanting to highlight pop music in his movies. I think there's been next to none, but he did use Walk On By in this film. And I don't even remember how, I just remember after it finished thinking, what a waste to use a song that great and really not doing anything with it.
Well, I can't remember Get Out, but I have to disagree about Us, which had the all-time Bay Area classic I Got 5 on it.
What was in Us?
I've Got 5 on it by the Loonies, and it's big here in the Bay Area because they did song. Where they got basically every Bay Area rapper who's still alive to do on the remix. I thought that was the actual version. I didn't know it was the original, and it borrows from I forget, someone like Liquid or something. Yeah, if you put it on, you'll probably go right away. Oh, I know the song even if you don't.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar. 5 on it, it's called?
I Got 5 on it. Their samples
I'll look it up.
Are real.
Don't remember the film.
You'll know them. Anyway, that around here, that was a monster song. And it turned up in the previews. And because as a song, I Got 5 on is about let's go get some weed. I got five, you got five, you got five. We can afford to get some weed. But us being the movie that it was, having that song pop up in there with its sort of ominous sampling, I thought it fit just great. I can't think of any other examples in his three movies of something like that. So you could,
Yeah, he does use music sparingly, at least. I mean, there were a bunch of songs. When I checked the credits, there were like 20 songs in Nope, but they were all written for the film. I mean, they weren't songs. They were probably just little snatches of instrumental stuff. Okay, listen, we're down to our last 3 minutes and a bit, Stephen. Anything else you want to say about the film before we move on to Elvis with Scott?
No.
Okay.
I'm looking at my 3 paragraphs without my reading glasses. I think I got all the parts. It was too long. I loved it, etc. And I don't see any line where I want to go to. Maybe he just likes filling movies with Easter eggs. That's not really that great a line.
I will definitely go see the next Jordan Peele film, whatever it is. You know, he certainly, whatever I thought of this one, like I say, he's clearly when I said major director, I don't know if he's quite in the first rank, like I don't know, Scorsese, Spike Lee, but are those guys still major directors? I don't know. For directors that are very current, I'd say he's front of the line right now.
Directors list, my best directors list. I have to have seen 5 movies before I'll put you on there. So he doesn't make it in that sense yet, but it's on the way for me.
Yeah, he's had, in terms of reviews and box office, probably one of the great 3 film starts in history. I mean, right there with Tarantino and some other people, I guess.
Okay, I got a perfect footnote for you guys. It dovetails exactly with this. Originally, I pulled it up because I thought it would be relevant to what Phil was saying earlier about you're comparing his movies to the horror movies of the 80s. And it reminded me of a tweet I saw a couple of weeks ago, I think, involving Jordan Peele. I'll read it to you now, but maybe I'll flash it on the screen when we do it. So it's some guy, Adam Ellis. He says, I know this is a hot take, but at what point do we declare Jordan Peele the best horror director of all time? Can you think of another horror director that had 3 great films, let alone 3 in a row? I can't. And then he lists his movies. Jordan Peele has 2 responses. The first one, he says, sir, please put down the phone. I beg you. And then his second one is, sorry, I love your enthusiasm, but I will just not tolerate any John Carpenter slander.
Okay.
Yes, so I thought that was pretty cool, actually. But you weren't really talking about John Carpenter type movies, I don't think.
No, but I don't even consider Nope a horror film. It's far more science fiction film than a horror film.
Okay.
And that just reminds me, I got to say Nope, I think, and you might even agree here, Stephen, suffers in comparison to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well,
I mean, maybe not. It's different film, but not a fair comparison.